In this screencast, we will see how to create a deployment pipeline and use an iTrust application to deploy on Droplet servers. To begin with, we will spawn up servers from DigitalOcean cloud service. Right now I have no droplets spawned up, and since the script is running, it's starting with the first Jenkins server. So the script says that it created a single Jenkins server and production servers. We can see on the application UI that we have 5 production servers and a single Jenkins server. We'll be hitting these IP addresses soon once we have Ansible installing the setup on those. So let's run the Ansible command. And while the script is running, I'll explain what the script contains. So we have the following roles. The first is the JDK role that basically installs Java on all the servers. Second is, I think, the Tomcat role that will install Tomcat on all the servers, followed by MySQL. So JDK, like the Java, MySQL, and Tomcat, are prerequisite softwares for iTrust, and I've explained these scripts in the previous videos. I'll pause here for a second because the installations will take some time. Once we have reached at the configuration step where the configuration roles are being executed, I'll resume the video. So as you can see, like the setup is still being installed on the different servers. So once like the basic 3 applications are being installed, the script then goes on to install the Jenkins on the Jenkins server that we saw that was spawned up. And the Jenkins server basically will set up Jenkins on the server. It will install the plugins that it needs, and after that it will create an iTrust build job that will be triggered towards the end of the script. Followed by that, we have config Ansible. So config Ansible script will so before I explain config Ansible, let's look into like what the config Jenkins script looks like. So here basically we are setting the keys for Jenkins, and here we're installing it. We're also installing the dependencies of Ansible here at the same time. This is basically the configurations for setting up Jenkins on a different port, because the Tomcat uses 8080 and we don't want that to mix up. In this section, we're installing like plugins from the second part. I haven't done like much editing. I'm using the same scripts so that I don't get any errors. And after that, we just restart it and copy the config files and create a build job called iTrust build. Followed by that, you will see here that config Ansible will come into play, and in config Ansible we're basically copying Ansible scripts from our Vagrant machine to the Jenkins server. And this is done because once our build will be completed, a trigger will be sent to a shell script which executes the Ansible scripts, and these Ansible scripts are responsible for deploying the iTrust application to the production servers. We'll also look at how, like, what contains in these Ansible scripts in later stage. Okay, so the next part is config SSH, and basically in this portion, in this role, basically we are copying the keys from the Ansible server to the Jenkins server so that it has proper rights when it does SSHing to the production servers. After that, we can see that there is a config repo role wherein we are cloning the repository of iTrust, and as shown in the deployment workshop, we are creating a parallel directory structure wherein we have a post receive file, and I'm just setting the configurations for GitHub, and in the end I'm just applying like the hooks, giving permissions, setting the remote for the clone repository, so that when we do a push, the www folder gets populated and it triggers the post receive script. And towards the end we have Jenkins build and production configurations. So in Jenkins build, basically we it's just a build task that triggers the iTrust build job, and in production configuration we are it's configure. We're basically setting up the database on all the servers. So these are all like for one-time initialization to these servers. Let's look at how the IP addresses display now. So this is our Jenkins server, and if I reload this now, I should be able to see the Jenkins iTrust job being built, as you can see, which was triggered by our script. This is these are the production servers, and they have iTrust, Tomcat installed on them. And so now when the build is completed, we get a build success. So if the build is successful, our script is triggered, and this is the same script that I was talking about earlier, and we'll see how what it contains and what it exactly does. So let me SSH into the Jenkins server, and so this is basically the Ansible scripts. And if you see hosts, we have the IP addresses of the production servers. We have 5 production servers here, and the deploy file, basically what it does, it removes any existing application of iTrust, and it waits for 15 seconds. This gap is basically to help me give a better demo, because we'll be talking about rolling updates. And finally, we deploy the war file that was created in the recent build. And this script is only triggered if the build is successful. So once it is done, this is deployed. So if I go on one of the production servers and look for iTrust, what I will see is the iTrust application being running. And if I log in, since I have the database set up, I'm able to log in. Similarly, all the production servers will have iTrust being deployed onto them. Oops. Okay, so this was the first part where we basically had to set up the pipeline, and this is how, like, using triggers and scripts, we're setting up the pipeline. And now for the second part, where we're doing rolling updates, let's take a look at how that is being handled. So I have my iTrust repository here, and the deploy directory configured for deployment. What I will do is update one of the files, and I'll push it to the deploy directory, and on the push, the post receive file will be triggered, which basically does a build and a deploy. So let's see the scripts in action. So this is the home page when an admin logs in. So I'm just gonna edit it saying welcome admin, aka whatever the name is. And if I do git add whatever changes I did, and so if we run the git commit command, and now if I run the push command, it should trigger my post receive script. So my script says that the post receive is hit, and it just threw me a warning saying that there was some issue, but it's just a warning. Let's see on the Jenkins UI what actually did the build task trigger. So you can see now that the build job triggered itself, and at this stage we'll also see how the rolling updates take place. So while the tests are running, I'll show you what the Ansible, like the post receive script consisted of. Oh, my bad. The post receive is so the post receive basically echoed this text, and it basically triggered the build job. on iTrust. And we know that once we have the iTrust job running, once it is completed, it will run the Ansible scripts, which we had seen just a few minutes ago, to deploy the war file on the production servers. So let's go to the Jenkins UI, where our setup is being, like, the Ansible scripts are being executed right now. So you can see that 117, that is this one, is being deployed while this is still currently running. So this was on 10. So let's see, the 176 is running. So it's on 176. So this goes down while these should go up. It takes a second or two to get these back on. But as you can see, like, the other server is up while this is still so this is the wrong URL. Yeah. So lastly, on the last server, that is ending with 203, let's see if we can get the iTrust application down. So it is down, and now it's finished, and if I refresh it, I should be able to see the application. So we saw that, like, it does a rolling update where one server goes down but the other servers are still up. I log in as admin here. I see that the extra text that we had added on the home.jsp page is here. Once again, like, this is on a different server, but if we log in on the admin, we should see our extra text that we added on this page. So this was basically how we implemented rolling updates, and this concludes the screencast for Milestone 3.